Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right, Ken, thanks very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Fan Cave. We're here talking sports, as we always do, 7 nights a week. 412-575-2600. That's the number of the Bordas and Bordas hotline. You can also hit us up on Twitter at KDPump, at the Pony Express. Andrew Fillipponi, 93.7 The Fan, joins me. And Andrew, this is about lack of respect for Ben Roethlisberger nationally. We've seen it quite a bit over the years, but this year is, to me, a lot stranger in that his team is 9-0. His stats are pretty good. You can make the case that he's an MVP, or at least should be in the conversation, and yet there are people like Chris Sims who don't even have him in the top 10 of his list. He has people like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow who have struggled at times. They look good at times, but they haven't done much to help their teams. So what is the criteria, and what's your thought about Chris Sims?
Well, first of all, I felt disrespected for weeks because I haven't had a chance to work with you on the sports call, Bob. I thought I said something and ticked you off, so I'm happy that we've been brought back together, reunited here.
You want some peaches and
herb? It feels great
herb?
to be back together. Yeah, let's do it. You want to sing a duet right now? I mean, I'm in the mood if you want. But anyways, I'll get to your question here. Look, it's interesting that it's not just people like Chris Sims who, what's the criteria for him? We don't know. All he did was put out a top 10 list on Twitter, and it was raw meat for Steelers fans, and rightfully so, who freaked out when they saw Lamar Jackson ranked 7th and a couple of rookies ahead of Ben nowhere to be found. So, that list did exactly what it was intended to do, and that was to get a visceral reaction from Steelers fans. What I'm more surprised by, because I know a lot of these guys, Pro Football Focus says that he's not even a top 10 quarterback. And we had Steve Palazzolo on from PFF today, Bob, and he said they've got Daniel Jones graded ahead of Ben Roethlisberger right now. And these are people that aren't just throwing crap up against the wall. Theoretically, they're looking at breaking down tape on every single play and grading every single play. So that's my long answer to say this, Bob. I don't get it.
Well, Daniel Jones, do they factor in how much he is a turnover machine and how many times we've seen
fumbles,
him,
interceptions,
everything?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, at some point you have to go away from the analytics and you have to just become somebody who looks at what you see, and what you see is a guy, and all you have to do is look at what happened here last year and compare it to this year. And if you don't think the guy's a top 10 quarterback, for that matter, he should be a lot higher than that, then you're missing something. I don't care what the analytical stats say. I think sometimes we have, paralysis of analysis, way too much of it, and that's in all sports. And I think sometimes the best way to do it is just watch it, see it, and make a gut reaction. All right, I want to ask you about a guest. I was intrigued to see, and I didn't hear it, but I heard Jimbo Covert. He's one of my favorite guys out of Beaver County on your show today. Yep. He's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and deservedly so, part of the '85 Super Bowl shovel, the Chicago Bears. You tweeted something that got my interest about how important it was to maybe lose a game and not go undefeated during the regular season. Please expound on that.
Well, they famously lost to Dan Marino and Don Shula on Monday Night Football when I think they were either 12-0 or 13-0 back in '85. And without, provoking Jimbo or leading the witness today, he said to Chris Muller and I that he thought that losing that game to the Dolphins was the best thing that happened to them in '85, because they had started to feel like they were invincible and that they were better than everybody, and that game humbled them. And I think that there's a compelling argument. Now, no one is hoping that the Steelers lose to the Jaguars on Sunday. That would be stupid. But I do think there's a compelling argument to be made that if you go into the playoffs with an undefeated record, not only are you playing really good teams, you're also playing against history. And I think that can be a big, heavy weight on a team's shoulders. I mean, there's only one team that's done it, and they didn't hoist the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year. In '72, they didn't play a 16-game regular season, and the media attention isn't what it is today. So I'm with Jimbo. I think, I'm not going to tell you which game the Steelers should lose, which would be the most helpful, but I don't think it would be the easiest thing in the world, let's say, to try to keep an undefeated, to try to be the greatest team of all time. I think that's a lot to ask out of a team, especially this one.
On this season, there was only one automatic bye. It's the first seed. So there still is a lot to play for. And Kansas City only has one loss. So you don't want to give it up in the name of, well, we need this because it'll reinforce this we have to work harder. So I think
I'm not saying they should rest guys and, just take weeks off. I don't think that's – because I think sometimes you do that, you take your foot off the gas. Well, now you try to find the gas pedal again, and before you know it, the car's off the road or you're in an accident. So I don't think that's a good idea. We've seen teams mixed results with that, right, Bob? We've seen teams bench starters late in the year, and then they can't get their mojo back in the playoffs.
Say Indianapolis Colts a few times. The other thing is New England should have won a perfect season, gone 19-0. David Tyree, that was just a miraculous catch, a stroke of luck. They took advantage of it. Good for them.
I do think that Week 17 game, Giants players say this all the time. It was like Rocky 1. Remember when Rocky almost beat Apollo Creed and he convinced himself he could actually do it? I think the Giants in Week 17, they tried to beat the 15-0 Patriots, and they came so close, and they weren't intimidated when they played them in the Super Bowl. I do think that made a difference in the rematch. I really do.
Yeah, it could have. I mean, it's good to have a good mindset going into that, and they did stand with them toe-to-toe, only to lose that one, and they played all their starters, both sides of that. All right, we're going to take a break here, 412-575-2600. What do you think? Is 16-0 doable? Would you be upset if there's a loss along the way? But if it costs you the #1 seed, I don't know about that. We want to hear from you. Coming up live right here on Pittsburgh CW.